Here to discuss Eurasia Group President Ian Bremmer. Ian, what do investors need to know about all of the weekend's events here with regard to China?
They need to know that the news that was dominating the U.S. headlines, which is the McCarthy and congressional meeting with Taiwan's president in California, was probably the least important diplomatic news that was coming out of China over the past week. As you've mentioned, it's the Saudi and Iranian foreign ministers now meeting together for the first time in Beijing. It's the former Taiwanese president finishing off a 2-week trip to China, the first time since the Civil War ended in 1949 that any sitting or former Taiwanese leader has visited the mainland. And, of course, it's the French president, as well as Ursula von der Leyen, traveling to Beijing. And Macron, in particular, publicly on the back of that trip, saying that the Europeans need to diminish their dependence on the United States, saying no such thing about China, while, of course, France wants to do a lot more business there. So, I mean, really a lot of news coming out of China these days, and not necessarily what's being picked up or driving headlines in the U.S.
And you're suggesting good news for China, net, and it's
well, sure. I mean, China has all sorts of domestic,
world.
demographic, and economic challenges, but from a diplomatic perspective, Xi Jinping is leaning into global influence, and he's finding a lot of people that are very willing to take him up on it. And that's not in Trump's America First land. This is with Biden as the U.S. president. Not a lot of people were expecting that, certainly not inside the administration. That's what's happening right now.
A lot of people, I mean, politically, a lot of the opponents, the Republicans, are blaming Biden for all of this that's happening right now, saying he's losing the narrative and he's losing control on the world stage and he's losing the U.S. dollar, the reserve currency, because of everything that's happening here.
Well, he's not losing any influence of the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency. That's exactly where it was 10 years ago. So there's nothing there, and CNBC knows that very well. But more broadly, it is true that the U.S. has a lot less influence in the Middle East today than it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Some of that is the Biden administration having a really challenged set of relations with, for example, the Saudis, with the Emiratis. Some of it is the U.S. under Trump unilaterally pulling out of the Iranian nuclear deal, the JCPOA. But definitely the Chinese see a vacuum. They're leaning in. And the relationship with France, frankly, is probably the least trusted of the U.S. relations with G7 allies. And the way that AUKUS, the submarine deal, was mishandled by the U.S. diplomatically probably didn't do any favors for that relationship.
I was going to say, I mean, it's been interesting to watch it erode the relationship regarding the Inflation Reduction Act. And now this idea, I guess, I mean, is it really, is it part and parcel of our relationship with France over time? Or is any of this related to the pressure that Macron is under back home?
Oh, there's surely the fact that Macron feels like a lot of things he's tried has failed. Remember, Macron was the one leader that was going out meeting with Putin when other leaders refused to. It got nowhere, but he gave it a shot. He wanted to be the guy that was making that deal happen. He recently made a trip to Africa. It was a disaster for him, the sort of end of Francophonie in Afrique. It was back home. It was reported very badly. And, of course, you've got all of these demonstrations, significant and significantly violent, even in the context of what France routinely experiences. So he clearly is frustrated at home, but he still sees himself as the leader of Europe. And the fact that he made this trip to China with Ursula von der Leyen in tow, that the Chinese government treated him very well, much better than they treated von der Leyen. It would have been one of the more significant and successful trips that Macron had had if he had just stayed quiet about it. But he couldn't help himself. And the statements that he ended up making really showed backlash, especially in the United States, but frankly, with other G7 capitals around the world. And my inbox over the weekend was blowing up with other diplomats.